Welcome to Texas Border Watch, your eyes on the front line for all things immigration, border security, and local policy. I'm Jordan Elder. A few weeks ago, we told you about the concept of a smart wall that the federal government is rolling out. It's the regular physical wall that you see on the border, plus buoys, roads, lighting, cameras, sensors, all as kind of a unit all along the border. The rollout of that means that for potentially the first time ever, there could be a border wall built in Laredo. And not everybody is happy about this. I want to show you a few clips from their city council meeting where the mayor announced to the room that the federal government has ordered some sections of wall to be built in Laredo.
We have had several conversations with officials from Border Patrol and Homeland Security on the current state of the border apprehensions, encounters, gotaways, and splashdowns. Throughout the meetings, it had been mentioned that while apprehensions are at historic lows, the encounters which involve Mexican drones, gotaways, and high-speed chases continue to be a concern. But however, in today's meeting, the city of Laredo received for the first time official notice of the administration plan to build a border wall along the entire southern border as one of President Trump's chief priorities. This includes the area consisting of Laredo, Texas. But before I get into this update, I do want to reiterate that this announcement should not become a partisan issue. This issue impacts our local history, environment, and economy, and quality of life, thus impacting all Laredoans. Irrespective of what's being decided, this will change our community forever. And understanding that political season has already started, I want to caution the temptation of making this a partisan issue or political pandering, as we're trying to send a clear and consistent message to both Austin and Washington, D.C. During today's meeting, contractors for Homeland Security discussed the planning proposed timeline for the border wall construction in our area. This includes border wall designs and technology that will accompany the proposed wall construction. Again, as I mentioned, our city continues to be the safest city in the state of Texas and one of the safest cities in the United States. And we have achieved this without the need of a border wall.
It would be bad for community, culturally, fraternally, disastrous for international trade, which we literally lead, disastrous for environment, useless for all intent and purposes. We know that drugs come through the bridges, not the water. What the pro-wall lobbyists represent, plain and simple, are masters of control, of dominance. There is nothing in our vote, as of yet, in either Laredo, Webb County, or the United States that has voted for the wall. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Laredo is the safest city in the state of Texas without a wall. The city needs to be recognized for that, and people need to realize this was achieved without a wall. And don't believe Border Patrol when they say they need a wall. In the last 30 years, the number of Border Patrol agents has tripled, while the crossings now are at historical lows across the entire southwest border. You don't need a wall. There's plenty of agents. Do not let them force that narrative on you. And apprehensions in the Laredo sector have always been the lowest numbers out of all the sectors along the southwest border. And this is without a wall.
On November 14th, the Laredo City Council is going to get a better look at what the federal government is envisioning here. The mayor of Laredo spoke to KGNS and said that this is not going to be the typical wall that you would see. He says it's going to be more eye-pleasing than what's on the rest of the border. So we're going to let you know what exactly that means after the meeting happens. Congressman Cuellar represents this area, and we got to talk to him one-on-one. He says that some parts of the smart wall could be beneficial, but he is adamantly against any sort of border wall in Laredo. So here's a piece of our conversation with him.
Is the border wall something Laredo is choosing, or is it something that the city is being told this is happening? The border wall is being forced on Laredo. Yeah, I was the only congressman that had most of the border district that had no border wall, and this is in the whole country. Look, what we're looking at is Laredo has been named the safest city in the state of Texas. When you look at border crossings, you will see that Laredo, for many years, has been the second lowest crossing in the whole country, second lowest crossing for many years. The numbers have even gone down further because of two reasons I've been talking about for years. One, you get the Mexicans and other people to do more. The more people they stop, the less people come over. And the second thing is you got to have repercussions. And certainly people are being deported, the repercussions that we see at the border. All that, the numbers have gone down without a single foot of new border wall. Now, as you know, the last time we had a shutdown, Jordan, was because of the border wall. The Republicans wanted a border wall. So what they did to prevent that, another shutdown over the border wall, they put $46.5 billion in the big, beautiful / ugly bill that now has the money. So therefore, Laredo is being forced to take a border wall. People don't want this. There are aspects to the administration border wall, but then they also talk about technology. I've been supporting technology. River roads, I support river roads. Erasing or eliminating the Carrizo cane, which is, to provide eyesight where people can see, the Border Patrol can see. I support that. And so basically, even the river buoys is an idea that I had brought up years ago. I think it's something we can look at it as long as the International Boundary Water Commission plays a role. So everything but a border wall, because the border wall is a 14th century solution to a 21st century problem.
So you would be more open to buoys as opposed to a border wall for Laredo?
Yes, back under the other Trump administration, Trump 1, I actually suggested that, but I wanted the International Boundary Water Commission to play a role so they can say, this is where you put it. Don't put it on the Mexican side, put it in the middle of the river. And, don't put it in such a way that it affects the flow of the Rio Grande.
So the administration came out probably about a month ago at this point and said, we have this new idea for a smart wall, where it's a physical wall, it's lighting, it's surveillance, it's roads, it's buoys. Is that what would be coming to Laredo, or is it just the wall itself that would be coming?
No, I think the whole thing will be coming in. The question is, where do they actually put the border wall? I mean, do you really need a border wall everywhere? And my answer is no. But with $46.5 billion, they probably will put some border wall in Webb County and Zapata, unless if they want the symbol put up. This is a action that will really have an impact for generations if you put a border wall here in Laredo.
Why is the opposition at the point that it is? Like, why choose or be more okay with cameras, river roads, all of those things instead of the physical wall? What is the kind of the mentality for people in Laredo surrounding that?
The border is actually the middle of the River Grande. And if you look at other places where they put border wall, it's not put in the middle of the river. It's not put in the riverbanks because they'll get washed off. They put it far inside. And there's times so where they even go a quarter of a mile. If you look at the other places where they have the wall or the fence, it's really not a wall, it's a fence. Where they put the fence, it's always away from the riverbank. So you're giving up a lot of beautiful land and put it in no man's land because the fence is put not in the middle of the river, not at the riverbanks, but they go up far into the land. So people don't like that. They're for generations, from the Spanish grants, people have owned those lands, and they just don't want to give that land and put it in no man's land.
You and I have talked before about the Texas strategy for border wall, and I remember you telling me that a lot of the property owners that you talked to were more okay with the idea of the Texas wall because they had more of a say in what it would look like. Do you think with this federal wall, they will have a say of what type of wall it will be and how it will look?
Well, unfortunately, the federal government has always said, we'll take input, which is all, they just do it. It's just checking the box. They really don't take the input, and they do whatever they want to. One thing, a good thing about the state, first of all, they were leasing the property for a long time, so they don't condemn the property. That's good. The second thing is they look at alignment and the fencing. They work together with the landowners. The federal government doesn't do that. They condemn and they put it wherever they think it's easier to put up. So the state has a better way. And in fact, I believe one of the constitutional amendments has a tax credit for people that have had, the border wall. So the state has just been a lot more accommodating because they believe in property rights. If you build 1 mile of fencing, depending on terrain and a lot of things, it could be up to $30 million a mile or more. But for technology, you can spend a couple $1 million per mile. So it's more cost effective to have cameras, to have sensors, to have drones and lighting and all that. So it's cheaper to put that technology, and it works a lot better than a 14th century solution. You can spend $30 million per mile on a fence, and somebody just needs $100 or less to buy a ladder.
You can get on the Smart Wall website through Customs and Border Protection and see where these sections are going to be installed in Texas as well as the rest of the country. We have that link for you on news4sanantonio.com and foxsanantonio.com. Now, we also want to tell you about some new measures in place to find and get rid of cartel tunnels. The state of Texas and Customs and Border Protection discovered one of these in El Paso in January. Essentially, these are very complex and sophisticated tunnel systems that the cartel was using to smuggle people, weapons, drugs. Once they were identified, the early months of 2025 were spent learning more about these and then filling them in and getting rid of them. The Texas General Land Office has recently come out and said, hey, we want to make sure that there are not more of these underground in Texas. So they are launching a new initiative to find them, and if they do find any, to get rid of them. We got to speak with Texas General Land Commissioner Dawn Buckingham about this plan. Here's what she had to say.
We heard about the tunnels, so we know that we have hundreds of thousands of acres on the border. We have already been a big part of border security, and we will continue to fight every day. There's not a place that they can run or hide from us. We're going to shut them down.
So what will this look like for GLO employees? What will they be tasked with doing?
Well, already we do aerial and on-foot surveillance of our properties. We're going to step that up. We're going to engage with some new technologies. We're, of course, partnering with the local officials, the federal officials, and we'll do everything we can to just look for these tunnels, detect them, and then eliminate them.
And you mentioned some new technology that Border Patrol might be expanding to in terms of tunnel detection. What will that look like?
Well, we'll see. My guess is it looks a little like seismic activity, looking for oil underground where you can see where these tunnels are built. But I think the RFP from the federal government went out on Monday. I think they're in process of acquiring this technology. And then, of course, we'll continue our partnership to do everything we can for complete operational control of our border.
What is the risk associated with the tunnels? What danger could that pose to people here in Texas?
Well, it could pose a lot of dangers. If the tunnel were to collapse, it could cause problems with roadways. It could cause problems with water direction. It obviously could suffocate the people in the tunnels, but also create problems for the surface dwellers. But the bottom line is we are seizing enough fentanyl to kill every man, woman, and child in the United States over and over again. We have got to stop these deadly drugs and the human trafficking and the violent criminals that are coming across.
The GLO will use drones to help look at some of these areas, and they also want to rely on some expanding technology from Border Patrol. It's this very sensitive tunnel detection technology, and sensors will help figure out where the tunnels begin and where they end. And this is set to undergo about a $100 million expansion by the end of 2026. The agency is actively looking for contractors who can help them expand this program as part of the larger congressional funding package. So the GLO says that could be a game-changing partnership as they go to look for these cartel tunnels. If you want to read more in depth about either of these stories, you can do that over on our websites, news4sanantonio.com and foxsanantonio.com. That's all we got for this week's Border Watch. We will see you next week.